Discover the amazing moment when a little girl's kind words transformed a tired CEO's life forever. Jake sat in his sleek office, staring blankly at the computer screen. The rhythmic clicking of his keyboard had become a monotonous backdrop to his weary existence. At 41, he was a CEO chasing a fading vision of success. His once bright aspirations had dimmed into an exhausting grind, feeding an insatiable machine that was his tech startup. Sarah, his devoted wife, and Lily, their bubbly 8-year-old, seemed to drift farther from him each day. The weight of his responsibilities felt like a heavy anchor, dragging him deeper into isolation. One Saturday, desperate for a momentary escape, Jake pulled himself away from the chaos of deadlines and meetings. He took a reluctant stroll in the local park, a vibrant oasis awash in the colors of spring. Families filled the grassy areas, laughter ringing in the air like sweet music. Yet, despite the joy surrounding him, Jake felt like a ghost haunting the edges of their happiness. His heart ached, heavy with the burdens of work and the gnawing guilt of neglecting his family. As he wandered, the hustle and bustle began to blur a blend of colors and voices. And then, amidst the crowd, his eyes landed on a little girl with bright blonde curls. It was Lily. She raced toward him, her cheeks flushed with excitement, completely unaware of the storm brewing inside her father. With a glowing smile, she stopped short, beaming as she pointed down at his new shoes. "Daddy! I love your shoes. They're so cool." In that fleeting moment, the world faded away. Her innocent words struck a chord deep within him, unlocking a cascade of memories, bedtime stories, laughter over ice cream, and afternoons spent in the backyard. Jake's chest tightened, filling with warmth and an ache so familiar it was the love he had been too preoccupied to acknowledge. But as quickly as the bliss washed over him, reality shattered the moment. His phone rang with urgency, snapping him back to the daunting world of business. It was his partner, precariously detailing a critical client threatening to back out a financial lifeline on the verge of snapping. Panic surged, and all thoughts of reconnecting with his family evaporated. He could feel the rift between him and Sarah grow wider, leaving Lily waiting for attention he was too engulfed to give. Before we continue, I need to let you know about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, hit that bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can drop a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue. The pressure mounted, gnawing at him as deadlines loomed and family events beckoned. Jake felt like he was in a tug-of-war between his ambition and the longing for a deeper connection. His mind raced with the question, what does true success even mean? In the silence of his office, as he gazed at a family photo on his desk, the realization hit him like a jolt. There was so much more at stake than profit margins or product launches. With the faces of Sarah and Lily flashing in his mind, Jake stood at a critical crossroad. Could he salvage his connection with them before the tides of business swept him away completely? Would his yearning for love overcome the unrelenting grip of ambition? As he took a deep breath, he knew the fight for his family's love and togetherness was beginning, but would he rise to meet the challenge or sink further into the dark abyss of business demands? The answer awaited just beyond the horizon. Jake leaned back in his chair, the weight of his choices pressing down on him like an unrelenting storm. He glanced at his watch. It was almost time to pick Lily up from her soccer practice. Should he even go? A part of him screamed to lock himself away and dive into the sea of emails, but another part, the one that echoed with the warmth of his daughter's laughter, urged him to break free. He could almost hear her voice, bright and full of life. Pushing himself up from his desk, he made a decision. He grabbed his keys, the metallic jingle filling the quiet room, and headed for the door, leaving behind the stifling confines of his office. The world outside felt vibrant, almost alien after the hours spent inside the sterile walls of his workplace. The sun painted everything in bright hues, as if the universe itself conspired to remind him that there was more to life than work. When he arrived at the soccer field, the cheer and camaraderie of the team felt like a breath of fresh air. Parents gathered in small groups, chatting and laughing, while kids darted around the field with boundless energy. Jake's heart raced, not from the creeping deadline of a business deal, but from an exciting stir he hadn't felt in ages. Spotting Lily, gleefully dribbling a soccer ball, Jake's heart melted. He felt that familiar tug, the one that pulled him toward genuine moments, a connection that had been dwarfed by financial reports and calls. She turned, her eyes lighting up when she saw him. "Daddy!" She squealed, running toward him, leaving a trail of laughter in her wake. "Hey, champ!" he called back, kneeling down just in time to catch her in his arms as she leaped into him. He lifted her high, spinning her around, both of them bursting into joyful laughter. In that moment, time lost its meaning. The world outside faded, and Jake felt alive again. "I thought you'd forgotten about me." Lily giggled, her bright eyes shining. "Never. I wouldn't miss watching you score some goals for anything," he replied, warmth flooding his chest. He was here, really here. The nagging concerns of business refracted into the background, replaced by the sound of Lily's uncontrollable laughter. But as practice began, Jake couldn't shake the guilt creeping back in. His phone buzzed in his pocket like a persistent reminder of responsibility. Just one glance couldn't hurt, he reasoned, pulling it out momentarily. Emails flashed in front of him, urgent subjects, bolded names that screamed for attention. The thrill of the moment faltered for a heartbeat. "Daddy?" Lily called softly, a hint of confusion in her voice. The joy in her expression dimmed slightly, and Jake felt the knife stab of regret. "Yeah, sweetheart, I'm here." He quickly returned the phone to his pocket, locking his eyes back on her. "Let us see you in action." As practice continued, Jake cheered, each clap resonating with hope. But with every cheer came the reminder of his responsibilities. How long could he steal moments like this? What would happen when the inevitable chaos returned? As the whistle blew and the team wrapped up practice, Jake felt both exhilarated and anxious. It was a quick reminder of how precious these connections were, and yet, there was looming uncertainty. Had he made the right choice to step away? And if he continued to choose moments like these, how would he survive the business storm that awaited? The warmth of the sunset enveloping them brought a semblance of comfort, a promise of better days ahead. But deep down, Jake knew the biggest challenge lay before him. Would he cling to this newfound connection, even when the tides of work crashed relentlessly around him? "What are we doing for dinner?" Lily's small voice broke through his thoughts, a bright smile already replacing the worry. Jake looked into her expectant eyes, determination sparking inside him. "How about pizza, just the three of us?" "Yay!" she exclaimed, jumping up and down, wrapping her arms around his waist once more. As they walked back to the car, hands clasped, Jake felt an unshakable resolve form within him. This was just the beginning. But where would it lead? Would he manage to find balance between the demands of his position and his daughter's laughter? The uncertainty loomed, but Jake knew one thing: he was ready to fight for what truly mattered. The car ride home buzzed with excitement, the engine humming softly as Jake and Lily shared stories about the day. The air felt electrified, a stark contrast to the earlier weight of his office chair. Jake found himself laughing at Lily's animated recount of her practice, her eyes wide, hands flailing as she reenacted her most impressive dribbles. "Daddy, when I went left, and I faked out Emily. She thought I was going right." Lily laughed, her delight spilling over. Jake could hardly keep track of the specifics, but every word she spoke twisted itself around his heart, weaving a fabric of connection he had long overlooked. "Sounds like you were a star out there," he said, glancing in the rearview mirror, catching her reflection. Her grin was infectious, and he couldn't help but smile back. As they pulled into the driveway, a wave of anxiety washed over him. The comforting hum of family life was met with the stark reality of the waiting emails. They loomed like shadows over the dinner table, ready to pounce. Lily bounded ahead of him, taking a springy leap from the last stair, her energy a tidal wave of youthful exuberance that filled the house. "I'll set the table," she shouted, her small feet pattering against the wooden floor. In that moment, all Jake could hear was laughter and the resounding joy that filled their home. But as he set his briefcase down, a gnawing tension crept back into his chest. "Okay, Lily," he called back, forcing his voice to stay upbeat. He made his way into the kitchen, trying to shake off the weight of the day. That's when he glanced at his phone again, the screen vying for attention, like a pesky fly buzzing in his ear. He swiped away the notifications but knew he wouldn't be able to completely ignore them. "Pizza. Pizza." Lily sang, her voice a bright melody in the kitchen as she danced around, mischievously twirling the forks in the air. Jake took a deep breath, forcing himself to immerse fully in the moment. As they waited for the pizza to bake, Jake felt an unexpected moment of calm wash over him. He watched Lily, her cheeks flushed with excitement. It hit him these were the moments he wanted to cling to, the memories that would power him through the darker days. "Hey, Lily," he said, breaking the rhythm of her song, "what's your favorite thing about soccer?" She paused for a moment, pondering, then her face lit up. "Scoring. And the teamwork. But mostly the fun." Her sincerity was infectious. Jake chuckled softly and leaned down to her level. "You know, I think work should be fun too. Sometimes, it gets so serious." Lily tilted her head, studying him, her brows knitting together. "Why? You should have fun at work like I do at soccer. Then you can cheer too." Her innocent wisdom hit him hard. Here he was, trapped in a cycle of obligations, weighed down by stress, while she lived in a world where joy was always a choice. Suddenly, it wasn't just about balancing work and family, it was about redefining what happiness meant in both spheres of his life. The beeping oven snapped him from his thoughts. "Pizza's ready," he said, a little too loudly, but he felt an undercurrent of excitement building. He pulled it from the oven, the melted cheese stretching as he took the first slice to the table. As they sat down, surrounded by the savory aroma, Jake felt a shift. He wasn't just at dinner, he was truly present. He found himself sharing stories about his own childhood playing games, chasing fireflies, and feeling free. Their laughter intertwined like the steam rising from their plates, each moment a reminder of what he stood to gain. Yet, behind that joyful facade loomed an unanswered question: was he ready to embrace joy, not just during dinner, but throughout every part of his life? "Do you think I could score at work, like you do on the field?" he mused aloud, biting into his pizza. Lily looked at him with wide eyes, serious for a moment. Then, her smile returned. "Yeah. Just have fun." As Jake pondered her simple yet profound words, he realized the journey wasn't just about balancing two worlds, it was about finding the joy in both. That very evening, he stood at a crossroads. He could remain shackled to old patterns or leap into the unknown and dare to change. But, as he watched Lily hiccup with laughter after another whimsical game of who can take the biggest bite, he knew this was only the beginning. What if he took more risks and embraced her perspective? What would it lead to? Jake's heart raced, and with that, a new, exciting chapter began to unfold in his mind. As dinner wrapped up, Jake and Lily engaged in a playful duel over the last pizza slice. There was something liberating in her giggles, the kind of sound that peeled back layers of weariness lodged deep within him. In that moment, he felt his burdens lighten, if only for a heartbeat. Okay, Jake laughed, finally relenting and handing over the last piece. "I hereby declare you the winner of the pizza championship." "Yay!" Lily jumped up, pumping her fist in the air. The sheer delight radiating from her was like sunshine breaking through clouds, bright enough to light up even his darkest thoughts. Yet, amidst the post-dinner merriment, Jake felt a small weight tugging at him. The email still hovered in the back of his mind, ready to pull him back from this blissful moment. "Lily, why don't we play a game?" he suggested, eager to shift their attention away from his discomfort. How about a round of charades? Her eyes sparkled with enthusiasm. Okay. I'll go first. She leaped to her feet and immediately began mimicking a soccer player, complete with exaggerated kicks and imaginary crowd cheers. Jake couldn't help but laugh, his heart fuller than it had been in ages. Her enthusiasm was contagious. When it was his turn, he felt alive as he replicated a dinosaur, his arms flailing wildly, eliciting roars of laughter from Lily. For a brief mosaic of time, the stresses of the outside world melted away. The colorful chaos of family life enveloped them, and he savored the freedom to be silly, unshackled by expectations. Eventually, they collapsed onto the living room couch, breathless and giggling, as the remnants of dinner lay scattered across the dining table. The television hummed softly in the background, but neither of them paid it any mind. Instead, they basked in the warmth of each other's company, the laughter ebbing into that comforting silence. "Daddy," Lily suddenly said, her voice turning serious as she shifted her weight against him. "Can we always do this? Even when you get busy?" Jake's heart dropped at the thought. He could picture himself buried under work again, the laptop sprawled before him, the weight of the world pressing down on his shoulders. "I want to, sweetheart. I really do," he trailed off, his words dulling as reality seeped back in. "What if you just keep playing games and laughing with me?" She added earnestly, looking up with those big hopeful eyes, "It doesn't sound too busy to me." Her logic pulled at the seams of his heart. Could it really be that simple? Could he carve out joy amidst the chaos? "Maybe I can, Lily," he said slowly, an idea buzzing in his veins. "Maybe we can make it part of our routine." Her bright grin returned, illuminating his doubts like headlights cutting through the night. "Yes. Like a rule." Jake chuckled, ruffling her hair affectionately. "Okay, it's a family rule, we choose joy over being busy." With that, the heaviness that had once resided in his chest felt lighter. Just as hope began to seed within him, though, his phone buzzed again on the side table, a sharp reminder of the inevitable responsibilities awaiting him. It broke the spell, and he quietly cursed the device, but Lily interrupted his thoughts. "Can I help you with your work, Daddy?" The innocence of her question struck deep, causing him to reconsider. What if he invited her into his life instead of shutting her out? What if they found ways to enjoy the seriousness of his job together, just as they had with games? "Maybe, kiddo," he replied, his voice steady and optimistic. "We can find a way to make it fun." As the night deepened, they settled into a rhythm of sharing stories, blending the worlds of work and play. Jake began to sketch ideas that turned into laughter amidst serious discussions. But deep down, an unsettling question began to weave itself through his mind: could he, a grown man with so many obligations, really find a balance? The thought lingered like mist as he tucked Lily into bed later that night, her tiny form swallowed by the large blankets. He couldn't shake the growing awareness that the real challenge was about to start. Being a father meant so much more than just being present, it meant being open to transformation. Jake stepped back, watching her drift away into dreams, a mix of hope and trepidation swirling within him. He was on the brink of something new, something big. And just as he turned to leave, he couldn't help but wonder, a wave of excitement washing over him. What would this mean for both of their lives, moving forward? Jake woke the next morning to the soft sound of laughter drifting from Lily's room. The sunlight splashed across the walls, a burst of warmth that promised a new beginning. He stretched, a smile tugging at his lips as he remembered the previous night's joy. That feeling lingered, wrapping around him like a cozy blanket, softening the edges of worry that so often frazzled him. "Daddy! Look!" Lily burst into the living room, hair askew and cheeks flushed from excitement. In her hands, she clutched a somewhat lopsided drawing of a stick figure family: Jake, Lily, and a bright sun smiling above. "I made this just for us." "That's beautiful!" he exclaimed, kneeling to her level. "You've captured our happiness perfectly." the pure delight on her face was priceless. In that moment, the weight of emails and deadlines felt like distant echoes. They settled on the floor together, and Lily explained each element of her masterpiece as if unveiling a grand narrative. With each detail, Jake felt layers of stress peel away. However, as she talked, a flicker of reality crept into his mind, the looming projects waiting for his attention. But the vibrant way Lily spoke about their family and the joy of drawing made it easier to let those thoughts fade into the background, at least for that morning. "Want to help me with work today?" he asked, testing the waters. Her eyes widened in wonder, and he saw the spark of adventure ignite within her. "Can we pretend to be a team?" She grinned. "Absolutely." Jake laughed, feeling lighter. "We're a dream team." After breakfast, they transformed the dining table into a makeshift headquarters, with Lily's bright drawings serving as company logos and marketing plans. Jake pulled out his laptop, and together they started brainstorming ideas for a project. Lily contributed wild and whimsical suggestions. Creating a unicorn-themed office space was definitely her favorite. Jake chuckled, intrigued by her creative spin. "You know, Lily, I like the way you think. Unicorns could really bring happiness to the workplace. We should definitely keep that on the list." As they dove deeper into work, focusing on the joyful moments, something inside Jake started to shift. He was still a CEO, but suddenly, work felt lighter, infused with laughter instead of dread. "I think I like this work better, Daddy," Lily said, her tiny brow furrowed, concentrating hard on arranging her drawings. Her innocence struck him again, the simple truth in her words resonating. Could this be the answer to his quest for balance? Later, as they wrapped up their meeting, Jake felt a renewed sense of purpose bubbling within him. This was more than just a game, it was a way to reconnect with his daughter and find joy in the mundane. That afternoon, Jake found the courage to send out just one email with a simple note at the bottom: "Let us prioritize joy." He hit send, a mix of exhilaration and apprehension filling him as he realized he was forging a new path. Afterward, he and Lily took a break, stepping outside for some fresh air. The breeze rustled the leaves overhead, and the world felt alive. They played tag in the backyard, Lily's laughter ringing out like music, pulling Jake deeper into the moment. He felt almost childlike, giddy as he chased her until they both collapsed onto the grass, breathless. "Daddy, do you think we can do this every week?" she puffed, her blue eyes gleaming with hope. "Every single week, I promise." His heart was full. But as they lay there, staring up at the sky, the tension began to creep back in a tiny voice whispering about the responsibilities waiting for him. What did this new promise mean? Could he really maintain this balance moving forward? As Jake watched the clouds shift slowly above, he wondered if he could transform not just his routine, but maybe the whole way he approached life itself. The thought sparked his imagination, and he felt eager to explore. But just then, the familiar buzz of his phone interrupted the quiet, shattering the serene moment. Jake sighed as he reached for the device, feeling a knot form in his stomach. What was waiting for him this time? And could he keep the wonder alive as he returned to the realities of life? Jake grabbed his phone, the screen lighting up with notifications as if it were a portal to the chaos of the outside world. He hesitated, glancing at Lily still sprawled on the grass, the sun lighting up her hair like spun gold. His heart raced, a part of him wanted to ignore it, to stay in this moment forever. But curiosity, mixed with dread, pulled him back. With a quick swipe, he opened his email. As he scanned the messages, a cold wave washed over him. The latest project update, an unhappy client, and the dreaded quarterly report stared back. Each word felt like a weight pressing down on his chest, each task a roadblock to their new routine. "Daddy?" Lily's voice cut through his thoughts, sweet and innocent. "What are you doing?" He quickly put on a smile, trying to mask his growing anxiety. "Just checking some emails. Nothing too exciting, kiddo." She nodded, her trust unwavering as she tucked a piece of grass behind her ear. "Can I see?" Jake hesitated. He didn't want to drag her into his adult worries. But the glimmer of curiosity in her eyes stirred something within him. You know what? How about I read you one instead? He pulled her closer, his arms wrapping around her, holding on to that magic they had just created. With each word he read aloud, describing the projects and goals, something remarkable happened. Lily listened with rapt attention, her little fingers occasionally poking at the screen. "What's this one about, Daddy?" she asked, pointing to a misleading subject line. "Well, it's about making people happy in the office," he replied, forcing a laugh. "Like unicorns?" "Exactly. But it's a little serious, too." He paused, feeling the heaviness in the air. Sometimes grown-ups forget the joyful parts. Lily leaned against him, her small body cozy and warm. "But we have to remember." Her conviction struck him with fresh clarity. "You can add unicorns to everything." Jake's heart swelled. "You're right. I can put unicorns in my emails and remind everyone to be happy." They sat together for a few more moments, the grass cool beneath them, the sounds of the world fading into the background. Jake thought about the joy had painted over the stresses of life that morning. How could he make it last? "Daddy?" Lily's voice broke the calm, bringing him back. "Can we make a new drawing? One of all the happy things you want to do?" A spark lit in Jake's mind. This was it. Together, they could create a vision board not just for the business but for their lives. A joyful reminder of magic amidst the mundane. "Great idea!" he exclaimed, feeling the stress begin to lift. "Let's grab some supplies from inside." They hurried to gather markers, paper, and crayons, their hearts racing with excitement. As they worked, Jake felt rejuvenated, laughter erupting as they tossed around silly ideas and colorful sketches. Every moment spent together felt like a stitch sealing the fraying edges of his busy life. But just as exhilaration filled the room, Jake noticed a change in Lily. She suddenly paused, her expression shifted. "Daddy, what happens if we can't keep the promise of joy?" Her question hung in the air, heavy and poignant, cutting through the giggles. Jake swallowed hard. He had promised her a new beginning, but could he keep it? With a sigh, he held her small hand tightly. "I think we just have to keep trying, sweetheart. And each time we try, we get better at it." Lily's face brightened again, but Jake couldn't shake the feeling of uncertainty. How would they manage to infuse their lives with joy when the world outside beckoned with its pressures and burdens? Glancing at the scattered papers filled with hopeful drawings, he knew deep down that it was now or never. But the emails and responsibilities loomed larger, and still, he felt a flicker of hope ignite amid the worry. What if he could truly transform this new commitment into reality? What if he stumbled upon a way to turn hope into action? He held his breath, knowing the next step would be crucial. How far would he go to make sure they never lost that spark? Jake and Lily spread paper across the kitchen table, markers scattered like confetti, each color representing a dream they were yet to articulate. With every sketch they drew, Jake felt the walls of worry around him begin to crack. "Let's draw a giant unicorn," Lily declared, her eyes sparkling with excitement. "And it can fly to all the happy places." Jake smiled as he picked up a bright pink marker, challenging himself to keep up with her boundless imagination. How about a rainbow trail behind it? If unicorns can fly, they can certainly make rainbows. As they worked, their conversation flowed freely. Each line drawn transformed into a shared hope, a tree of joy, a sun that never sets, and a mountain of ice cream. Jake realized he was tapping into a part of himself he thought had gone dormant, the imagination that comes alive when you let go of responsibilities, even if just for a moment. Yet, even amidst the laughter, the weight of reality loomed larger. Each stroke of the marker brought memories of deadlines, difficult conversations, and the client that had left them feeling hollow. How could he insulate their magical realm from that pressing reality? A knot formed in his stomach as he drew the ice cream mountain lopsidedly. "Daddy?" Lily's voice cut through his spiraling thoughts again. She looked up, her expression serious yet curious. What if the people at your work don't like unicorns? The question pierced through his light-hearted bubble. He paused, the image of Mr. Thompson's stern face floating into his mind. What would he say if he could see what they were working on now? I think Jake struggled to find the words. Maybe they need to see it, he eventually said, nodding slowly. Maybe they just don't remember what fun feels like. Lily nodded, unconvinced. But the world is serious, Daddy. If it was all fun, nobody would work. Sometimes, he replied, work feels serious because we forget the joy in what we do. He could feel Lily's eyes drilling into him, holding him accountable in some way. Realization washed over him. Maybe that was the promise he had made to her, a commitment to rediscover joy. Their drawing session was not just a way to escape, it was a vessel for him to convey that spirit back to the world that had overwhelmed him. Let us do something, he declared, feeling a spark ignite within him. We're going to put this drawing up at my office. Lily's eyes widened. Really? They will see our unicorn? Yes. And it will remind them, just like it reminds us, that joy is always possible. She jumped up and down, a whirlwind of excitement that melted away Jake's doubts, however temporarily. The world outside could continue its frantic pace. For now, they were cocooned in joy, and it was their mission to touch others with it. As the drawing progressed, Jake felt a sense of purpose swell within him. This wasn't just a whimsical task, it was a manifesto of change. But as they finished and looked upon their creation, he realized he would need more than just a drawing to illustrate hope. Would sharing this pivotal moment with his colleagues lead to something more? Would it open doors for him to change the atmosphere at his workplace? His heart raced again, uncertainty gnawing at him as he suppressed a lingering sense of fear. Could he convey the happiness Lily embodied to the very people who had molded him into the serious CEO that felt trapped? The thoughts swirled together, but he held Lily close, determined to push forward. He had taken the first step. And once you do that, sometimes you just have to trust the rest follows. Let us get this ready for tomorrow. He said, a newfound determination brimming in his voice. But just as they prepared to clean up, a message pinged on his phone, a reminder of the big meeting he had the next day. It was time to face the music. How could he merge his two worlds? Would the drawing be enough to spark change, or perhaps he would need something deeper? All he knew was that tomorrow could be different if he dared to be different. As they cleared the table, one question echoed in his mind. Would he have the courage to let the world see the messy, joyful side of him? Jake stared at the giant unicorn they had created, its vibrant colors and joyful essence promising a world untouched by seriousness. As he cleaned up, his heart raced with the thought of what tomorrow might bring. Would he really show this to his colleagues? Do you think they'll laugh? He asked Lily, half joking but fully anxious. Only if you don't fly with it, she replied, grinning as she tied colorful ribbons around the drawing. Her belief sparked a tiny flame inside him, but doubt crept back in swiftly, like shadows in a fading sunset. Only hours ago, he had been painting dreams with his daughter, and now he was retreating to the cold practicality of his office. Would that spark remain? Hey, Daddy. Lily's voice broke through his spiraling thoughts again. What if someone at work feels sad? Do you think they'll feel happy when they see our unicorn? He paused, genuinely considering her question. I hope so, sweetie. Maybe they just need a little reminder of joy. She nodded, her small hands gripping the edge of the table, and for a moment, he saw the wisdom behind those innocent eyes. She was right. It was a strange juxtaposition between the vibrant colors of their drawing and the gray reality of his office, where pressure and deadlines ruled. Would a single drawing really make a difference? Later that night, after Lily had gone to bed, Jake sat alone at the kitchen table. The unicorn drawing was propped up against a vase of wilting flowers, glowing against the dim light. He picked up his phone, scrolling through his emails. Every message felt heavier than the last, quarterly reports, client grievances, project timelines, each one wrapped up tighter than the last. The weight of the world felt suffocating. He shut his eyes and took a deep breath. What would it feel like to bring a little joy into this chaos? He imagined his colleagues seeing that unicorn, their serious faces softening, corners of their lips twitching into unsure smiles. Then he envisioned it soaring through the office, filling every corner with vibrant laughter. The next day was a blur of meetings filled with charts and figures. But as he walked into the conference room, the giant drawing clutched under his arm felt like armor against the seriousness. Would they look at it and see the magic, or would it dissolve into their usual critiques? His colleagues gathered, some casting curious glances at the colorful paper, others busily shuffling notes. Taking a deep breath, he set the drawing down on the table, the pinks and yellows radiating joy amidst the muted tones of their mundane surroundings. "It's time we talked about joy," Jake declared, his voice echoing with unfamiliar confidence. "This is a reminder that work should also feel fun sometimes." A few eyebrows raised. He could see surprise mixed with skepticism. But as he continued, words pouring out like a waterfall, he felt the unseen barrier begin to crack. "Remember when we were kids? When everything was an adventure? That's what we need here to feel alive." Then, one after another, he watched as they began to share small stories. Mini anecdotes about midnight ice cream runs, spontaneous trips to the beach, and laughter shared during coffee breaks. Just then, Lily's words floated into his mind: what if someone felt sad? He saw it happen, a colleague's eyes sparkled, a little smile slowly turning into laughter. The walls began to crumble, replaced by a newfound connection. Suddenly, someone asked, "Can we draw more?" It was a simple question, but it hung in the air, ripe with possibility. Jake's heart swelled. They were stepping out of the shadows, dipping their toes back into joy. As he watched his colleagues light up, he thought, perhaps this was just the beginning. Perhaps tomorrow, they would sketch even bigger dreams together. But as the meeting adjourned, Jake felt a familiar sense of fear creeping back in. Was this light genuine, or would it slip away as easily as it had come? That night, he sat back at the kitchen table, surrounded by the remnants of their creativity, his heart racing once more. In a whirlwind of thoughts, a single question echoed in his mind, testing his resolve: can joy truly become a part of their everyday hustle? Jake's heart pounded as he replayed the day's events in his mind. Something had shifted within the office. The unicorn hadn't just been a drawing, it had become a vessel of hope and laughter, and he was beginning to believe that joy might have a rightful place in their work lives. But as he sat there, doubt crept in again. Would this feeling last? Or would tomorrow bring them back to the same old grind? As the sun rose the next day, Jake found himself pacing the floor, impatient anticipation swirling in his chest. Could they build on that magic? He pulled out the unicorn again, its colors vibrant against the pale morning light. Perhaps he could invite his colleagues to meet again, to brainstorm and create more. The thought made him smile, nudging away the remnants of doubt. "Hey, Mr. CEO." Lily's voice rang out, bubbling with excitement as she rushed into the kitchen, hair bouncing, eyes glimmering. The childlike energy washed over him like a gentle wave. "What are you doing with that unicorn today?" Jake couldn't help but chuckle. "I'm thinking I might show it off again, maybe even invite everyone to draw their own magical creatures. Can I help?" she asked, her enthusiasm contagious. "Of course. We can use all the colors we can get," he replied, his heart swelling with pride at her kindness. Together they gathered supplies, loading the table with glitter, markers, and stacks of colorful paper. They spent the morning creating. Jake found himself diving back into that carefree mindset, doodling fantastical creatures and landscapes as laughter echoed around the house. For a brief moment, he lost track of time, reminding himself that creation was every bit as important as the tasks waiting for him at work. Later that afternoon, Jake hesitated as he entered the office again. He could hear the chatter of his colleagues, the hum of computers, but nothing felt as invigorating as earlier. The drawing sessions had recharged him, yet the familiar constraints of deadlines began to seep back. "Hey, everyone!" he called out, summoning the courage he had found earlier. "Who wants to join me for a creativity break?" A few heads turned, and some eyebrows lifted in surprise. Had he really just said that? But the spark was still there. "Jake, you finally lost it?" someone joked, but laughter came easy now. "Perhaps I found it instead," he replied, directing their attention to the unicorn perched proudly on his desk. One by one, interest peaked. As he explained his vision of a collaborative drawing session, the skeptical looks transformed, replaced by curiosity. It was sweeter than he could have envisioned. "How about an office mural?" suggested a quiet voice from the corner. It was Emily, usually lost in spreadsheets. "We could paint over that ugly beige wall." "Yes!" Jake exclaimed, excitement bubbling. "Let us bring color into our lives. We're painting away the dullness together." And just like that, barriers began to melt. They gathered once more around the table, markers flowing, ideas soaring. Stories and laughter wove a beautiful tapestry of connection, leaving behind the weariness of corporate life. As the day came to a close, it felt like a vibrant new path had opened. They had found joy in work, rediscovering what it meant to create, to collaborate, and to shine. Yet, in the back of Jake's mind lingered a question. Could this change stand the test of time? Would they really carry this new spirit into their everyday grind, or was it just a fleeting moment? That night, as he tucked Lily into bed, he felt a proud smile creeping up. "Today was amazing, wasn't it, sweetheart?" "Yeah. And tomorrow will be even better." She beamed, her faith unwavering. As he switched off her light and tucked in the covers, Jake sat quietly for a moment, his heart full yet heavy with uncertainty. He felt the pull of old habits looming, but Lily's belief sparkled in his mind. Tomorrow was a fresh canvas waiting to be painted, he just needed to let go of his doubts. What could that canvas look like? Would they continue to paint joy into their lives, or would the old seriousness creep back in? With these questions heavy in his heart, he drifted off to sleep, dreaming of possibilities. The morning sun streamed through the window, filling Jake's room with warm golden light. He blinked awake, feeling the weight of yesterday's promise stir in his heart. Today felt different, it was a new beginning built on laughter, creativity, and the determination to keep joy alive. He heard a familiar sound, the delighted laughter of Lily echoing downstairs. It was like a melody he had long forgotten. Leaping out of bed, he rushed to join her, excitement bubbling in his chest. "Daddy, guess what?" Lily shouted, her eyes shining with enthusiasm. "I made a whole bunch of drawings. You have to see." Jake knelt down beside her as she unveiled a colorful array of sketches, each one more imaginative than the last, unicorns playing soccer, flying dragons, and even a rainbow castle. Each piece radiated the joy they had created together. "They're amazing!" he exclaimed, feelings of pride swelling within him. "You're such a little artist, sweetheart. Do you think we can invite everyone at the office to help us make something like this?" Her eyes became wide, twinkling with the thrill of adventure. "Yes, yes. I want everyone to feel happy, too." With Lily by his side, Jake wasted no time planning. They gathered supplies, bright paints and endless sheets of paper, feeling alive in the creative chaos. That morning, as they brainstormed ideas, Jake felt courage rising. He envisioned his co-workers not just becoming participants, but collaborators, a community building something beautiful together. Later at the office, the atmosphere buzzed with energy. "Everyone!" Jake called, drawing attention as he sidestepped his desk, the vibrant drawings tucked securely under his arm. He felt the rush of adrenaline, fueled by determination. "Today, we're creating a mural to brighten our office. Let us make it a visual reminder that joy has to find its way into our work lives." Skepticism flickered in the air, but he maintained eye contact with his colleagues, hoping to draw them into his vision. Let us all contribute something. Bring your ideas, your imagination. We need to spark something new. One by one, heads nodded. Hesitantly at first. But then, excitement rippled through the room, igniting laughter and chatter. Jake watched as his words landed. Colleagues began sharing their inspiration, their stories, their memories of the joyful moments they had forgotten. Finally, as they gathered around the wall, laughter erupted like fireworks. Markers flew, paint splattered, every color coming alive in a way he had never seen before. The wall transformed from a stark white canvas into a kaleidoscope of dreams, a place of unity that celebrated creativity and connection. Lily's voice rang through Jake's head again, and he pictured her delight as he let the energy from the moment pull him back to the here and now. It felt liberating. It felt alive. As laughter filled the air, Jake realized this had always been beneath the surface, waiting to be discovered. Joy wasn't just a fleeting moment, it could be woven into the fabric of everyday life if he let it. That evening, Jake rushed home, eager to share the day's triumph with Lily. She was waiting for him at the door, bright-eyed and full of energy. "Tell me everything," she chirped, bouncing on her toes. He swept her into his arms. "You won't believe it. We painted a whole section of the wall today. Your unicorn made everyone smile." Her face lit up. "Can we go see it tomorrow? I want to make a new drawing of the wall." "Absolutely," he replied, excitement bubbling within both of them. "Together, we'll keep adding to it. We'll make it a family project to inspire everyone." As night fell, and they settled on the couch, the glow from their shared joy lingered in the room. Jake felt transformed, a renewed spirit filling his heart. He didn't have all the answers, but the weight of his responsibilities felt lighter, brushed aside by the spark of creativity and laughter that now danced between him and his daughter. He smiled at Lily, and she smiled back, full of hope and dreams. "Hey, sweetheart," he said softly, "let us make it a tradition to spread joy, every week, okay?" Lily squeezed his hand, her small fingers fitting perfectly in his. "Every week, Daddy. Pinky promise." As they locked pinkies in an innocent childhood ritual, Jake felt an overwhelming warmth. He knew today wasn't just about a mural, it was a pivotal moment in their family story. They had chosen joy, creativity, and togetherness over the old burden of seriousness. Tomorrow would bring new challenges, new responsibilities, but Jake now held the key to navigate it all. His heart raced with inspiration, possibilities swirling like the paints on the wall. They would keep painting, keep creating, keep laughing, and they would do it together. It was a new path, not devoid of struggles, but one filled with love, joy, and the kind of laughter that could change the world, one mural at a time. So, what's next? Jake smiled at the thought. Whatever it was, he was finally ready to embrace it. And with that, he leaned back, listening to the sweet sound of his daughter drifting into dreams, knowing this was just the beginning of their beautiful adventure. Remember, dear friends, you have the power to choose joy in your own lives. Let us celebrate it together. If this story inspired you, subscribe immediately to the channel so you won't miss the next exclusive stories. Leave a like now to feed the algorithm that shares these heartfelt transformations, and comment below with your reactions and feelings about this ending. And don't wait not even one more second to share this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this transformation. We're creating a community built on love and joy. You need to be a part of it.